Hi, welcome back to the In-Between. My name is Camille. We have been inside the change cycle. This is the first area of the in-between. The in-between being that messy, crazy, uncertain, sacred place between something that's ended and something that's not yet begun. And in many cases these days, we're the one that ended. An old version of ourselves has come to an end, but the new version of ourselves has not yet fully formed. And so we're in the in-between. And we started with being cracked open. We are ending with a breakthrough. In between, we were drifting. We didn't know where we were. We left the shore with no sense of direction. We've dealt with chaos. We've dealt with confusion. We've had to have the courage to do tough things and to speak our truth and make decisions at the crossroads. It's the change cycle where it all begins. But the breakthrough is the moment where suddenly insight and clarity begin to arrive. Oftentimes it's said that you have to have a breakdown to have a breakthrough. That's not always the case, but it often is. And I had a breakdown yesterday. It came out of the blue. The good thing is I was at the end of my day and something from a past trauma came up. Now, I know why it came up. It came up because in my prayer and meditation, I am always asking for assistance in releasing and letting go of anything known and or unknown that might be getting in the way of this next version of myself. I am totally aligned with the year of the snake. I am in the final shed. My tail is left. So it's these very nuanced pieces, this very deeply embedded belief systems that are finally coming to the surface of my awareness, and my body is releasing the emotional composition of that trauma, of that old programming in the way that one would call a breakdown. So I came home, I cried for a long time, I took care of myself, I stroked myself, I hugged myself, I drank water, I eventually wrapped myself up in a blanket. I eventually had some tea, took a hot shower, and got into bed pretty early for me because I was breaking down. I was shedding, and I don't push myself anymore when I'm in that kind of a moment. In the old design model, I did. In the old design model, I didn't have a whole lot of respect for those breakdowns. They got in the way. They were a bother. But in the new design model, and certainly during this time of my own in-between, I have respect for the breakdown. I certainly don't linger in it longer than I have to. I'm not here to make a story out of it or, have it become my identity. I do my best to be present for the part that's moving through me, and then with proper care, get back to my center as quickly as I can. And my breakthrough from that breakdown didn't happen last night. It came to me this morning, and I'm sharing some of that with you. The insight and the clarity that came, as well as a greater lightness of my own being that I experienced because I was willing to purge and to stay present for something that was coming out so that I can walk through. When you're in the breakthrough phase of change, it feels good. It feels like a gift. And in a way it is, because you've been doing the deep work in the change cycle. You have been doing the big, deep work. Sometimes you look around and you say, why isn't everybody doing this deep work so that we can all be the best versions of ourselves? Or maybe you're in partnerships or friendships where the other person isn't doing their work. And they're blaming you instead. And that's just getting old for you. And so you just need to take the time you need to be available for your breakdown and your breakthrough. But the breakthrough is that moment when that little green shoot pops up from the dirt. Ooh, look, it's coming. The seed we planted, it cracked open. It moved itself through the density of that cold, dark dirt. It popped through the surface of the dirt. And here it is, this tiny little shoot breaking through and letting us know that the full bloom is right behind it. The breakthrough is the gift that we receive when we practice being uncomfortable in the discomfort of not knowing. All these things we've been talking about in this first series of videos yields the gift of the breakthrough. When you slow down, when you give yourself the things that you really need, when you say no to a request or an invitation because that makes you say yes to you, when you ask all these questions and just allow yourself to sit in the question, bringing compassion to the mind that thinks a question is always supposed to yield an answer, and you're reminding it, not this time. We're just agitating the field of possibilities by asking all these questions. We're stirring the pot because we don't want just one answer or just one way. We want a variety. We want an abundance of choices. Really? Why would you want an abundance of choices? So that we can use the new formula that we're learning. How do I want to feel? Does this decision make me feel that way or not? If it doesn't add to that feeling, if it doesn't make me feel that way, I'm not going to choose that because I'm committed to a new way of knowing what's mine to do. I'm committed to a new formula that tells me what's the right choice, what's the right path. And it has to do with how I want to feel. When you go through the time and the effort to really write down and journal what are your primary colors? What are the primary feelings that are yours for this new year? And then if you look at those colors, if you look at those feelings and see if there's maybe one that encapsulates others, if there's maybe one that holds the others and that becomes your primary color, if you do that work and then you put all your decision making into that way of knowing if it's yours to do, it becomes a joy to make a decision. For me, for this year, my primary color, my primary feeling is alignment, where I am lined up in how I want to feel, how I'm thinking that reflects the feeling, how I'm speaking that reflects the thoughts that reflect the feeling, inner alignment with my values, with the principles by which I'm living my life. Alignment. Another core feeling that I have is fulfillment. No longer in the wanting, in the needing, in the not having. That Camille is no longer. The new Camille lives from the overflow of already having. The new Camille is in a state of gratitude for everything that the mind thinks I still don't have, but my heart and my spiritual consciousness knows that I most certainly do. It may not have traveled yet from the visible from the invisible to the visible. It may not have yet made the journey from the formless to the form. It may still be on its way from the spiritual to the material, but I know that I'm one with it and that it's just a matter of time for it to arrive. It's just a matter of time for that little shoot to pop up out of the soil. You know, we don't plant a seed and then stick our hands in the dirt, yanking on it because we don't have the patience for it to crack open and bloom. No, we wouldn't do that. And if we saw somebody doing that, we'd have a few thoughts about that. What do? We go out, we look at the package. We say, that's the outcome I want. That's how I want to feel. And then we take the soil and we till it, we prepare it. That's our mind. That's our heart. That's our body. Habits, choices, ways of living that till the soil so that we can give ourselves the best environment, letting go of habits that don't create that environment anymore, letting go of people that don't foster an atmosphere that's going to give us the best environment for the seed to have its best chance of blooming its best bloom. And then we take that seed and we put it in the soil and we cover it up and we walk away, knowing that when we walk away, something else is working on that seed. Something within the seed cracks it open. something draws forth the bloom, and whatever intelligence knew the rose and packed it into that seed, it's invisible. I don't see it, but I plant every year anyway because I know something is doing it, but it's just not mine to do. What's mine to do is pick the outcome, till the soil, and plant the seed. And then with expectancy, anticipation, and proper care, I know that I've done all I can for that seed to become the best version of itself. These are the gifts that come with the breakthrough. And when you look back, when you have insight, when clarity arrives, when all of a sudden, bloop, it plops into your head or into your heart, and you're like, oh my God, that's it. That's the answer. It's here. It's finally here. I know what to do. When that happens, and you've done this kind of work, it is so sweet, and it changes everything. It changes you. It changes your relationship to life and change. And it builds a partnership with the invisible presence that is governing your life, that is breathing you while you sleep, that is handling all the functions of your body without any help. The same intelligence that brings the sun up every day. When you live like this and you start to build a relationship with that presence, oh my gosh, it is a complete and total game changer in the most beautiful way. So, if you have had a breakthrough, if clarity has arrived, if an answer has come through you, if you know, I am so happy for you. Relish in this moment. Now you can get excited. Now you can take the action step. Now you can celebrate yourself and the courage that you showed all this time when the world shouted at you and told you that you're wrong, you're doing it wrong, you need to know. You now have total personal experience that the whole time you did it perfectly. The whole time that you waited, it was the right thing to do. The whole time when you practiced sitting in the discomfort of not having the answer, you were strengthening a muscle that only that practice could yield. And now your breakthrough has arrived. Enjoy it, and congratulations.